Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the folks here on the beautiful island of Nevis, those in St. Kitts, those who are listening throughout the Caribbean. Good evening to friends and family in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, wherever you happen to be. My name is Mark Brantley, and I welcome you to another edition of On the Mark. This is a straight talk across the Narrows every Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. We are here at Von Radio, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, to have a conversation and to have a discussion about matters that we think are of some interest in the community, and certainly matters that we think are of some interest to you. So welcome to the show. This show, as I've indicated, runs for 2 hours. It's 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio. And at some point, we open the phones and we give you an opportunity to weigh in and to say what might be on your mind. Our standards, however, are quite high. We respect all views, we invite all views, but we ask, please, that when you exercise your privilege of calling this radio station and calling this show, you conduct yourselves appropriately. And as we say, whilst we would love for everyone to agree with our opinions, we know that that is not possible. We know that we live in a democracy, and in a democracy, freedom of expression is of critical importance. And so we expect that you'll have your own views, your own perspectives on whatever is raised and the issues that are discussed. We expect, therefore, that if you opt to call, you will call in and share those views and perspectives, but you will do so respectfully. Because on this show, we don't mind if we disagree, but we insist that we do not become disagreeable. Here at Von Radio, the standard that has been maintained for all of these decades that the radio station has been on air, and the over 2 decades that this show has been on air, is that only the best will do. And I feel that the level of our discussions, the quality of our discourse, is reflective of the quality of our societies and communities. And so, if you disagree, so be it, but let us not be disagreeable. Let us not try to use this radio station or this platform to be disrespectful, to engage in language that is inappropriate, but rather let's share our views strongly if we must, but nevertheless let's share our views and then be able to move on. Let our discussions tonight, every night, let our discussions in public, let those discussions reflect an educated population, a people who understand and a people who are aware and a people who spend some time behind the schoolhouse door. That is very important for me and ought to be important for you. Let us seek through our discussion to enlighten each other, not to diminish, and certainly not to give the impression to the outside world that we can't read and write and that we don't have no sense. It's very important that we function in such a way that we project at all times that even when we disagree, even when we have fundamental differences of opinion, that we can express ourselves in a manner that brings honor and respect to the name of this island of Nevis. Good. So now that I've set the tone, what are we going to talk about tonight? This program is unscripted. And so when we come here just armed with what's happening in the community. I would have had my press conference earlier this week. I think it was on Monday. I thank the members of the press who have come. And I am quite proud because I did promise that when I became Premier, I would ensure that every month there was a Premier's press conference. I'm proud of that innovation. It's the first time that it happened, and it happened under my watch as Premier of Nevis. I'm hopeful that it has now become institutionalized to the point where any Premier who comes after me would equally have such a regular engagement with the press. I'm very, very pleased that every month, every single month, we have an engagement with the press, save and except the month of December each year, which is usually the month that we deal with budgets. Other than that, we are there every month, facing the press, facing the questions that members of the press may ask. I want to thank each and every member of the press, those from St. Kitts, those from here in Nevis, who have come regularly and have put their questions to me. And I hope that in the main, I have been able to answer those questions. Sometimes, of course, you don't know what questions are going to come. It's not scripted, and you can't be prepared for everything. But certainly, I try to respond to those issues that are major issues and that impact the lives of the people of Nevis. Now, let me just give a few quick updates. On the airport project, there has been, of course, some delay on that project, unfortunately. Some delay largely caused because the financing arrangements that we thought were settled, that there is a question mark now concerning some financing from the Taiwanese government. We want to thank the government and people of Taiwan for stepping up and offering the NIA a loan on very, very generous terms to finance what we're calling the landward side of the project. That is the relocation of the Island Main Road and some works to be done at the terminal and the cargo shed and the tower. The situation where we now stand is that that matter, because Nevis is not a sovereign, has to go to the federal government for them to guarantee. And that is where the discussion now lies and has been now for some time as to whether or not the federal government would provide that guarantee so that that project could proceed. The federal government does have some concerns largely associated with the debt to GDP ratio, and whilst we understand that, we have nevertheless said as the Nevis Island administration that the debt is our debt. It is our responsibility, and the only reason that SINKIS is even involved is because Nevis is not a sovereign and that the federal government is the only sovereign recognized under international law. And so, whilst we understand the technical argument, I'm very happy to say that the Honorable Prime Minister has said that his financial secretary and the Nevis financial secretary should sit and work through this so that we can proceed with that aspect of the project. In the interim, the other aspect of the project, that is the runway, that site is ready to go. And I have spoken to the team, and we are hopeful that we will have a groundbreaking very soon. And rather than trying to get all aspects of the project started at the same time, we think that the runway, the extension of that runway, ultimately that's where planes are going to land. They're not going to land on the new road. And so we feel that we should get that section going and going as quickly as possible. And so we are hopeful that very soon we'll have a date and that we will start moving from there. So I'm thankful to report that whilst there's been some delay in part, we have now decided, you know what, let's proceed with that part of the project that is shovel ready, and the other part, which is also ready, save and except for that guarantee, that too will come in due course. And so we expect to proceed very shortly with that project. And I think that all of Nevis, in fact, let me not say all of Nevis, all right-thinking members of this community would welcome the expansion and development of the Vance Amory International Airport, an airport that has really been there, largely fallen into disuse over many years. The truth is that the last major development done there was over 20 years ago, and we feel that the current infrastructure in its current form has become obsolete. And so it is our intention, as we said, we are designing it for most private jets in the world, and we're designing it for the Embraer aircraft that currently American Airlines is using to fly from Miami to places like Anguilla and Dominica, and I'm told Tortola, and that aircraft will be able to land here as well. That's the design parameters that we're using. Of course, we will not be able to accept British Airways and the wide-body jets simply because we have the restriction that is Hurricane Hill. And the alternative then would be to take down Hurricane Hill, which we were not prepared to do. And so we are where we are. We'll work with what we have, but we feel that this design will allow us to have here a functional commercial private jet facility which can also accommodate the American what they call regional jets, and they're using an Embraer aircraft. In fact, I think it was 2 years ago, if memory serves, American Airlines ordered another number, I think over 200 of those Embraer aircraft. So it clearly means that they're expanding their fleet of regional jets, and we are hopeful that we will pretty soon in the near future those regional jets transporting people directly from the US mainland to the island of Nevis. Now I want to point out, because I have gathered that there in some quarters in St. Kitts there's some concern that the expansion of the Vance Amory Airport will somehow mean less traffic for the Robert Llewellyn Bratcher Airport. RLB will always remain the main airport. Let me just say that, because RLB is having flights coming in from all across the world. Flights from London, flights from New York and New Jersey and Toronto. Nevis is not seeking to do that. What Nevis is seeking to do is to capture the private jet market one, and two, to ensure that there are alternatives to get to Nevis from the U.S. mainland, largely via those areas on the East Coast that are within the range of those regional jets. What we feel is going to happen is not that we will in any way detract from traffic to RLB. To the contrary, we think we'll complement it. We now know that some of the highest airfares in the region are going into RLB. In fact, I will share with you that just the other day, I tried to book an economy class ticket to the United States. And the cost of that ticket out of RLB was such that I opted to go to Antigua and to fly to the U.S. mainland from Antigua. Put differently, when I added the cost of, I think it was Transanguilla, to get to Antigua, and then the cost of the ticket from Antigua to the mainland, the U.S. mainland and back, I save money. The flights into St. Kitts, we all know, those of us who take that route, are always full. And so it means, therefore, that there is significant demand. Sometimes you're trying to get out and you can't because there are no seats available. So in my view, we are actually losing out because of the lack of airlift or sufficient airlift. And I do know that we've had that complaint in Nevis from our hoteliers, particularly the Four Seasons Resort, time and time again, that it is difficult for them because there's simply not enough seats available coming into the jurisdiction, especially during the high season. Anguilla is in a similar situation. Anguilla is getting the direct flight now, sometimes 2 per day from Miami, using the regional jets from American Airlines, the same Embraer aircraft. But Anguilla is also being fed from Juliana Airport in St. Martin, just as we expect that Nevis will continue to be fed from the RLB Airport in St. Kitts. And so I don't want people on St. Kitts to be overly concerned. Development in any part of the country is development in the whole of the country. And part of that concern comes from the parochialism and the islandism that informs so much of what we do. There are people on St. Kitts genuinely afraid that Nevis is somehow going to rise. I don't say that to attack. I don't say that to insult in any way. I say that because it's a fact. There are many people who feel that Nevis is a little sister and that Nevis ought to remain the little sister. And that somehow if Nevis grows and develops at a rate and at a pace, that will somehow shift the balance in terms of the economic balance of the country. I personally feel that is a nonsensical approach to development. Development, whether it happens in Sandy Point, Keon, Molyneux, Gingerland, Cotton Ground, Newcastle, is development in the country. And too often, we don't see it that way, and as a consequence of not seeing it that way, we end up fighting against each other. And so I look at development, and I look at what we're seeking to do as developing the whole of the country. And I remember, you know, listening some, probably months ago now, to a radio program in St. Kitts. And there was a chap on there who was talking. And it was in the context of the Destiny Project. Because the irony of all ironies is that you have more Kittitians, it seems, talking out against the Destiny Project than Nevisians themselves. And the Destiny Project is a Nevis project. Why are they so concerned? Where's the newfound love for Nevis and Nevis people? Where's that coming from? Ask yourself. Sometimes you must go a little beyond the headlines. And I think one commentator on the radio station that I was listening to said it best. He said, if Destiny were to happen in Nevis, and that project were to be successful, Nevis would rise significantly economically. And then you know what's going to happen? Nevis is going to demand more political power. He said so on the radio. And I smiled to myself because I said, you know, at least he's honest. He has come right out and said what the concern is. There are too many Nevisians, I think, who get caught up Because somebody may be saying the same thing that you think or the same thing that you're saying, and you get caught up and think that they're saying it because they somehow care about you. I'm always a little skeptical, you see. And I'll tell you why I'm a bit skeptical. I live in a country, the beautiful country of St. Kitts and Nevis, where for the past 15 or so years, probably 20, the Citizenship by Investment program poured billions of dollars, that's with a B, into Bastia. I have said that the money was flowing down College Street gut, like when hurricane come and the floods come. Money. So many people were made millionaires out of this money. And Nevis over here kept begging, beseeching, cajoling, arguing. Just give us a fair share of that money. And none of these voices who now say they love Nevis so much could be heard. That all the radio programs in this federation has the most radio programs anywhere in the region. The pundits had nothing to say on that matter. There were no voices being raised at the unfairness of the situation. Voices were raised to attack me. They say we're greedy. They say what more money we need. We ought to be satisfied. We never used to get nothing. All these things were said. But the voices demanding a fair share for the people of Nevis from the billions of dollars that came into the country, those voices could not be heard in our sister St. Kitts. Now that $1 billion, 1.2 billion US dollar project is proposed for Nevis, those voices have come alive. And they now say how much they love you in Nevis and how much they feel that a project of that scale and magnitude would be bad for you in Nevis. I'm not easy to fool, and I am hopeful that most Nevisians are not easy to fool. And so when I hear some of these voices now raised with such stridency and such patriotism and such fervor to tell the people of Nevis what to do, I said to myself, but where were you? Where were you when year after year, budget after budget, we heard surplus, 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 and the Nevis Island administration, elected by the people of Nevis to run the affairs of Nevis, was having a difficult time balancing its books, paying its way, and developing this island. And when we did the math, we know that the island of Nevis lost simply by the refusal to give Nevis a fair share based on population, a pro rata share based on population. The island of Nevis lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Had we got that money, the island would have no debt. Some argue that the debt in Nevis is too high. I agree. But had we got that money, there would be no debt in Nevis. During COVID, the Nevis Island administration was forced to borrow. Our main industry, tourism, was closed. But do you know that it is the years of COVID and immediately after that the CBI program brought in the very most money? At one point, close to $700 million in 1 year. They said Nevis should be satisfied because we got 66 million. 66 million out of nearly $700 million is what Nevis got. And we were told that we're greedy. We're greedy. Had we been getting the 25 to 30% that represents a population-based pro rata share, your math is perhaps better than mine. But I believe that 25% of 700 million should be 175 million. That's what my math tells me. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Instead, we got 66. And they gave Nevis a fixed amount each year. Yes, absolutely. It was more than zero that we used to get before. Yes, absolutely. It was more than the loans that Nevis used to get, because Nevis used to have to borrow if it wanted anything from CBI. The SIDF had a mortgage on the Vance Amory International Airport for $4 million that came over supposedly to purchase lands from the Yarwoods, but which ended up being deposited miraculously to the Craft House in Nevis. And that was secured by a mortgage. So the people of Nevis were actually forced to borrow money from the SIDF, from the CBI fund. Now, all of this is well trodden ground. The point that I want to get to, and the reason that I raise these historical facts, is that there were no voices crying out for the people of Nevis from Bastia. The radio pundits were all silent. They saw nothing wrong, and if they saw anything wrong, they refused to call it wrong. And yet these same voices now take to the airwaves to say to the people of Nevis, we have your best interests at heart, and we feel that a project of this magnitude, that is proposed Project Destiny, that will spend $1.2 billion on Nevis, that will employ thousands of people, that will give young entrepreneurs an opportunity to expand their businesses, which will hire accountants, landscaping companies, housekeepers, chefs, security, IT. An investment that will do all that. The largest single investment in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is bad for you. And we support you, we love you, so we're speaking out. But they didn't love you when the money was rushing down College Street gut. They didn't love you when we up here were running on overdraft, and in Bastia they had surplus. Oh no, there was nothing wrong with that. And so I want our people just to be aware. Just to be aware. Somebody reached out to me recently and indicated that he was a recent visitor to Nevis. I believe he said he was from Canada. And he was 80 years old, and he had come to Nevis for the first time, and he loved Nevis. And that he intended to return. But he had to write to me to express his opposition to any major project, the scale of Destiny. He said that would be crazy for the island to have investment at that level, and that he wanted to register his strong objection to it. And I thought to myself, that must be quite a level of arrogance for a first-time visitor to our island to feel so empowered that he should write to the leadership of the island to seek to direct the leadership as to what the leadership should do and the direction in which the island should go. And I reflected that I was recently privileged to travel to Vancouver, Canada. And I wondered, what would Prime Minister Mark Carney feel or think if I were to put pen to paper to him to tell him the path on which he was trying to develop Canada was ludicrous, and that I objected to the approach that he was taking. But I am not by nature disrespectful, and so I responded to the kind gentleman and I said, "Sir, I'm grateful that you have come and that you love Nevis. And I am happy to hear that you may return. But I truly hope, sir, that you would understand that the development of Nevis and the direction in which the development of Nevis will go is ultimately a matter for the people of Nevis." And I want to make that clear to anyone out there who may be unclear that the development of this little island is for the people of this little island. And we may argue, we may fuss, we may fight over it, but ultimately it is up to us. Because I hear some of the commentary and I see some of the commentators, and I said to myself, what really are they contributing? I saw one woman, you know, one of those whom we call expats, and there are many who live here who make a significant contribution to this island, and we welcome them. We welcome everyone to this island. But I saw one of them who has been particularly critical and sarcastic and just offensive, in my opinion. And the comment that this lady made, I think I saved it, because this lady made a comment to say, in response to someone who said that Destiny will bring thousands of jobs, her comment was, Nevis doesn't need any jobs because we have lots of positions for maids and gardeners that are currently not being filled because there is nobody available to fill them. And I thought to myself, my God, maids and gardeners. Not that there's anything wrong with being a maid or a gardener, but it speaks to the mental approach and the thinking of someone who will come to this island, and in response to a project that will generate significant employment for the island, the response is that there are maid and gardener positions available that are not being filled, and so the island does not need employment because there's employment here. And I'm always concerned at how some people could be so tone deaf, or perhaps it's just arrogance, that they just don't understand that certain things expressed from certain lips cannot sound right, cannot land right, and will always be offensive. And that is a concern that I have. I spoke to one English fellow recently, and he, a Caucasian born in England, is accusing me, a Nevisian born in Scarborough, Henley Part, that I am trying to bring back colonialism with the Destiny Project, because I have said that this is a project that we would like to pursue. And because I try to be respectful, again, I pause, because had I answered that fellow the way that I wanted to answer him, I believe people would say that I was un-Premier-like. But could you imagine a white Englishman lecturing a Nevisian about bringing back colonialism? I don't believe the world knew what colonialism was until England decided to expand beyond the shores of that island. And they spread it across the world. Africa, the Middle East, Canada, America, the Caribbean. And again, I have to reflect that some people are so tone deaf that they can't seem to understand that there are certain things that can never sound right coming from certain lips. Not with the history that we've had. Not with the deprivation that we've had. And so I again say to our people, be vigilant. Oppose if you must. Propose if you must. Support if you must. Protest if you must. But never ever surrender the right of the people of Nevis to decide what is best for Nevis. And I'm not going to surrender that to a soul. It's simply not going to happen. Because in my opinion, at the end of the day, nobody, and I mean nobody, can better look after the affairs of the island of Nevis than the people of Nevis. We may disagree. We are a very disagreeable people sometimes. We may get at each other. But at the end of the day, we are in a vision and it must mean something. And when I speak this way, some get offended. And if you are, then I apologize that you are. But I can only speak the way I feel and the way I see it. Because there are too many out there who are trying to pull and tug and twist the people of Nevis into all kinds of directions. We must call certain things for what they are. And we must understand that sometimes people, even though they may be making sounds that suggest that they're on our side of the argument, that they are in fact insulting to us. How a white Englishman going to tell me about colonialism? Where's his moral authority to start to speak on that matter? I said to him, I want to hear you on the question of reparations. That's a topic on which I would like to hear your views. Not colonialism. You were not a victim of colonialism. We were. So don't speak to me about colonialism. Speak to me about reparations. Speak to me about how you and your family and your forebears benefited off the backs of the people of Nevis and the people of the Caribbean, and how you propose to make amends. That's what I would like to hear from you. If you're not going to speak to me about that, then I'm not sure what you can speak to me about. And these are things, and sometimes I feel that perhaps our people are maybe reluctant to stand up, or maybe we feel that these people are our friends because they're saying something that accords with what our viewpoint might be. But all friend ain't friend, you know. And what I find sometimes is that the opposition to Mark Brantley is that people understand that I am not someone to be controlled. I don't say that from any position of arrogance or any position of with any hubris at all. I say it because I feel that it's important that you are able to stand up as a leader, and people must understand that you're prepared to listen, because nobody has all the answers. You're prepared to take on board suggestions and recommendations. You're prepared to even take on board criticism. But at the end of the day, you cannot and will not be controlled, because there's some out there and that is their objective. And I believe that that's rather important. When I see sometimes the commentary and the quarters from which the commentary is coming, I say, you feel that you want to get somebody in the Premier's office that you can control, that you can tell what to do. I had a situation in my own political life where a particular wealthy person sought to befriend me, invited me to places where the 1% of the 1% hang out, invited me to visit their various homes in various parts of the world, and told me how much they loved Nevis and how much they wanted to do for Nevis. And I said, this is music to my ears, because I want development for Nevis. And then I suspect that they thought that they had befriended me enough that they then said to me, oh, we want to put in place a committee of experts, chosen of course by us. And any development that were to come to Nevis, we want you to agree that you will send that development first to us and our committee of experts for us to determine whether it is good for Nevis. And so they wanted me to agree that I would essentially hand over control of development on the island of Nevis to them and their committee. And I took up my coffee, because they were serving the world's best coffee. And I took a sip of my coffee, and I indicated, in proper English, of course, Oxford English if you want to, I dare say, my lady, that that would be quite improper and quite impossible. What do you mean? Was the response. And I said, nobody is going to come to Nevis and dictate to me, my government, or the people of Nevis what our developmental path should be. That is our decision and our decision alone. And that, my friend, then became my enemy. Mortal enemy. Started to fund the opposition and all kind of things here. And I smile, because many have come with honey dripping from their lips, but the motives behind it is not in the interests of you or I. And I think that that is an important lesson, and why some people are so adamant about their objection and opposition to Mark Brantley is that they understand that Mark Brantley has one purpose, and that is to do right by the people of Nevis. And in that purpose, on which he is focused in laser-like fashion, he cannot be controlled by any element or elements out there, only by the people of Nevis. And I want to make that pellucid. Sometimes it seems to me that people feel like they want some little toy in the office of the Premier. They want somebody they could push and shove. I don't know if they've had that in the past. I don't know if they'll have that in the future. But presently, nothing to all go so. The people of Nevis have elected me as the Premier of this island to lead. That's what they've elected me to do. To take tough decisions, difficult as they may be at times, but always guided by what is in the best interests of the people of Nevis. Along that pathway, not everyone is going to agree. I remind us all, those of you who go to church, those of you who like to read your Bible, that not even Jesus, the Son of God himself, did everybody agree with. And if there was some who not only opposed Jesus, but opposed him to the point of crucifying him, a perfect man, our Lord and Savior, then how could I expect that everybody will agree with me? But Jesus was not daunted, and Jesus knew what would happen to him, you know. He came to die for our sins. He knew. And yet, he went about doing what he was supposed to do, which was to lead and to preach and to bring the good news to the people in the four corners of the world. Around the world, the leaders that stand, the leaders that are remembered, are the ones who stood for something. Not the ones that everybody agreed with, because we've established that not everybody is going to agree. There's some out there who feel that because I don't agree, then the decision must not be taken. But I assure you that if you were to get 3, 4, 5, a dozen of us in this room right now, and you were to ask each of us what our opinion was, you're probably going to get 3, 4, 5, a dozen different opinions. It is just human nature. But the purpose of leadership then is to listen to everybody but take a decision. Leaders are not supposed to be flotsam or jetsam, just floating wherever the tides may take them, wherever the wind may blow. Leadership must be made of sterner stuff. And it seems to me that there's some who want a leader in the office of the Premier who they can push and shove and tug and pull wherever they want to push and shove and tug and pull. Well, that is not me. And that will never be me. And that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I just wanted to say that. Because, again, I reiterate that some of the feigned affection for the people of Nevis is just that. Designed to achieve a different, ulterior, and sinister purpose. You realize, for example, brothers and sisters, that there are developments happening on our sister St. Kitts. You realize that there's a massive development now happening at the Fort Thomas Hotel. I'm told that they're creating a replica of the Taj Mahal, famous edifice in India. Do you realize that a Ritz-Carlton project was proposed on the Southeast Peninsula? And yes, there was some agitation about beach bars and people having to relocate their business, but you didn't hear anybody protesting that there should be no development. They were protesting that the beach bars shouldn't be asked to move, they should be incorporated. But no, nobody was saying that the Ritz-Carlton shouldn't come. Christopher Harbour. Nearly the entire Southeast Peninsula was sold to the developers of Christopher Harbour. I am told somewhere in the region of 2,400 acres of land to build marina and golf course and hotels and villas. And sounds like destiny? Sounds similar to you? Because this was approved on St. Kitts. And people set about developing the Southeast Peninsula, an area that was hitherto undeveloped. Not a thing was over there. In fact, prior to the Kennedy-Simmons Highway, the only way to get over there was you walk over land or you take a boat. Sounds similar? South coast of Nevis, not a thing over there. And the people of St. Kitts, the government of St. Kitts, the leadership of St. Kitts, they had a vision to develop the Southeast Peninsula, to bring life and livelihoods to that area. And they went about it. Nobody in Nevis could have stopped them. And nobody in St. Kitts tried to stop them. Chamber, bar, in fact, many members of the Bar Association made a handsome bit of change over there on the Southeast Peninsula. Oh no, that was fine because it was development on St. Kitts, and St. Kitts must get development, of course. But as soon as something is proposed for Nevis, Tutman Samambagai start to make noise. And the thing that troubles me is that there's some divisions who can't seem to see through the charade. They can't seem to see through the honey dripping lips and the kumbaya, I care for you, I love you, to see it for what it really is. They can't look at the scale and pace of development in our sister St. Kitts and see that it is proceeding without difficulty, without opposition, certainly without the people of Nevis having a say. No. We have some people up here who say, oh, sending around and sending me clips from Tom, Dick and Harry. And I say, well, send me the clip where Tom, Dick and Harry was asking for Nevis to get a fair share because that was the right thing. Send me the clip where Tom, Dick and Harry was opposed to all the various developments, to Marriott, to Kittishan Hill. Send me those. To Christopher Harbour, to Park Hyatt, to Ritz-Carlton, Fort Thomas. Send me those clips because those clips don't exist, you know. And so when I hear some divisions parroting as if they don't understand what the underlying sentiment is, it bothers me because we're brighter than that. We're far more capable than that. It reminds me, you know, there was a politician whom I once sat in the cabinet with, a former Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. And Dr. Harris completely reneged on all of his commitments to the people of Nevis as agreed in the Charleston Accord. The NRP in Nevis saw it as if Harris was reneging on Mark Brantley and the CCM. And so they joined with him. And when he stand up and he said, Mark is a bad spender, they said it too. When he stood up and he said, Mark greedy because he want more money from CBI, they said it too. Almost as if the money was coming to Mark. They either didn't understand or couldn't understand or refused to understand that it was the people of Nevis, not Mark and the CCM, but the people of Nevis who had been shortchanged over and over. When he said every dollar that goes to Nevis is a dollar less for St. Kitts, many of them jumped on that bandwagon too. Nevisians. And when for standing up for Nevis, I was accused of being a vagabond and worthless and greedy and bad-minded and all kinds of things, those sentiments were echoed in Nevis by some. Because they thought that it served their narrow political interests, and they didn't realize that when Mark Brantley built the water taxi facility, when Mark Brantley built a Mondo track, when Mark Brantley built a treasury building or built a police station, and I'm just using Mark Brantley. Of course, this was done by the team that is the CCM team. But I'm focused on Mark Brantley because he was the focus of all the attacks. They don't realize when these bits of infrastructure, the roads, the water, the electricity, the water taxi facility, the Mondo track, the police stations and fire stations, the CCTV, school meals, assistance for our single parents with daycare, assistance for our seniors with electricity and water. They didn't realize that when you have water in your pipe 24/7 in every single community on the island of Nevis, electricity that is reliable, that those accomplishments did not only serve Mark Brantley, did not only serve the CCM cabinet members and their families. These accomplishments served all of Nevis. And long after Mark Brantley and his cabinet colleagues would have left the stage, these accomplishments will continue to serve the people of Nevis. And so sometimes I take the water taxi and I see some of them in the high heels and stockings come on the boat. I smile. I say, to God be the glory. To God be the glory. Because this is what bad spending looks like. When I sat in the parliament in Bastille and I heard the Honorable Congress Maynard speaking to the commissioning of a brand new desalination plant, and he said the words, not my words, his words, that the Labour government should take credit because for the first time in 15 years, the people of Bastille will now have water 24/7. I thought, my God, if water go off for 10 minutes in Nevis, people start to cuss. And Bastille is the capital. The honorable gentleman said for the first time in 15 years, with the commissioning of the desalination plant, that the people of Bastille will have water 24/7. He not said St. Kitts, you know. He said Bastille. Now you tell me, if you had billions of dollars at your disposal, 500, 600, and 700 million a year, that is not tax money, you know. VAT and customs duty and corporate tax and what they call it, unincorporated business tax and tourism levy, all them things that's still coming in, you know. Me only talk about CBI money. 400, 500, 600, and 700 million in 1 year, billions when combined. And you not got no water. You renting generators up at Skellig. You didn't buy any. And people in Nevis, you persuade them that Mark Brantley, Vicky and Irvin Goodson, is a bad spender. Well, if I'm spending bad, I want the people of Nevis to know I got water because I spend bad. I have reliable electricity and roads and a water taxi facility and development all around us because I and the Nevis Island administration, led by the Concerned Citizens Movement, we spend bad. If only others had spent bad, Congress Maynard would not have had to say in the year of our Lord 2026 that the people of Bastille, for the first time in 15 years, are going to get water 24/7. Imagine that. Where has the money gone? Look around. You come to Nevis, I could show you where the money has gone because I could take you. And I say from the pittance that we got, because when we did the math, Nevis got 8% of CBI receipts over that period. St. Kitts kept 92%. I could take you around and I could show you the various projects which have been transformative. We have a whole water taxi industry developed on the back of a water taxi pier and facility that was built here in Nevis. And the thing about it is 100% Nevision owned. Come, let me show you around. We go down to the MGR Park. Let me look at the work that was done there at Pinny's. 9 restaurants and bars, and I'm told another one, a beautiful little coffee shop there. Can't wait to go there and have a latte. That is about to open. Let us go and look at the Bath Stream and the phenomenal work that has been done there. And I can't give enough praise to Sylvester Mead and the team and John Hanley, the PS, for the work that has been done at the Bath Stream. Let us look at the housing revolution in Nevis at Madden's. Yes, let us go over to Chimney Crescent right next to Cherry Gardens. When we leave there, let us go here by Craddock Road, at the top of Craddock Road. I wonder if people remember how they used to look. We now stop there, let us go up to Hamilton. Let us look around this island. Let's go down in Rice's. Let's go up to University Heights and see the transformation that has happened. Let's go over there and look at the Newcastle police station when our police officers were over there living with cockroachy and rat. When they touched the walls, they got shocked. That was the condition in which they were living. Look at where they're living now and how they're living now. Some call it the Four Seasons of police stations in the region. Look around this island. Look at the roads on which we drive. Shaw's Road, Brownhill Road, Bath Village, Hanley's Road, Island Main Road. Look around. Braziers. And how those investments have enhanced the neighborhoods and the property values all around this island. Take a look around. And how, when you've had that look around, got our CCTV, our command center, brand new Treasury building in Charlestown, Mondo track. It's 10 athletes we sent Carifta this year. 10. And the only athlete in the federation that medaled was young Kimani Newton. We congratulate him. Look around. See what it is we have done. And then you say that we are bad spenders. With the pittance that we got. And you keep all. And you don't got no water. You keep all. You know, buy one generator at Skellek. You keep all. You know, got the road network and the road infrastructure. Just look at the difference. And you have Nivisions joining that silly chorus. Because they thought that when Nevis was being deprived, it was Mark Brantley who was being deprived. And they couldn't understand, or wouldn't understand, or refuse to understand that it is the people of Nevis that were being deprived. You see, you can't just love Nevis. When you're in government, you know you must love Nevis all the time. And I keep saying that there's some arguments that Nevisians will have, but let this be among us. Don't let nobody else go put them out in our argument. Let us have our arguments and let the people of Nevis decide which argument they prefer. But too often, see, when you're weak and malleable and people feel they can control you, they're going to come, you know. They're going to come. They're going to wrap their arms around you. They're going to tell you, my father born a cotton ground and me auntie born a Henley part. They're going to tell you all of that. But the objective is ultimately to get somebody in the premier's chair that is malleable, that can be pushed and tugged in a million directions. Well, not me, and not the CCM. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 9 o'clock. I'll open the lines. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you would like to be a part of the show. You can call in at any time. I will take your calls and we will have a conversation if you're minded. Please, as I say, let us be respectful. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello.
Good evening, Miss Sheriff.
Good evening, my dear.
Psalm 1 verse 5 and 6. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, and a beautiful, beautiful passage of scripture as always. I'm very grateful to you for continuing to share and continuing to call week after week. The lines are open. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. For those who wish to be a part of the show, let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
1616.
Hello.
869-469-1700.
Hello.
For those who wish to be a part.
You're on the air. Could you move away from your radio or device and listen to the phone? You're on the air. Hello, good evening. Okay, that call is gone. Callers, when you call in, please, it's important because there's a slight delay if you're listening to your device on your computer, on your radio. Please listen to the telephone. That's where you'll hear my voice. So let's try again. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night, Honorable Brantley.
Good evening to you, my dear.
My scripture reading
Yes.
is from Proverbs 24 and verses 19 and 20. Men, neither be thou envious of the wicked, for there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. That's the end of my scripture. May God bless you, keep you, guide you, and protect you from all harm and all danger. Blessings.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your beautiful scripture as always. We're sticking with the telephones and continuing to take calls tonight. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Mavis.
How are you, Mavis?
I'm good.
All right.
However, you are surrounded by a well-thought-out army. Our Bible soldier has brought words of wisdom. And now your critical thinker soldier is here.
Welcome.
Welcome. I want people to be reminded that nothing worth having ever comes easy. You have to labor for it. Those of us, back in the 70s would remember we wanted a wall house. We used to collect the stone and sit down underneath a clementary tree and pound the stone until we get to this position where we have businesses provided the crushed stone and we can easily save some money and buy those stones. We want people to understand our history and where we are coming from. And to realize that Nevisians were never people who waited for a handout. We were industrious. And we had virtue along with that industrious spirit. And so when I hear people say, we want everything. But man is developed in such a way that they must not settle for mediocrity, but strive for some greatness. And so as we do this, I want to empower our parents, to empower their children. As teachers, we are calling parents, telling them about their children not doing their homework. And they say, well, I don't do all I can, give them the zero. They should not be happy with their child getting a zero. They should take themselves and come to school and sit down and say, do that piece of work they give the teacher. Our mindset just has to change. And I don't know what is happening to the youth. I don't know what Kool-Aid we drink. But I wish we would wake up and would understand that the education we have here in Nevis, it only goes until 6th form, unless you do some online university. While we are tied into CARICOM, and everybody can come, with that CARICOM passed, and their studies, the university based in Jamaica, the smaller C and whatever. But whatever little we have on the job training is good. And so we must empower our people to keep at it. Only hard work brings results. And in this day and age, if you say not hard work, then smart work. Don't let AI take it all away. Critical thinking is still important. You cannot do an exam without memorizing and learning the facts. Exams are still set the same way. Sit down and write the paper. Evaluate and analyze the information that you learn. So, wake up, our people. We need Evie to come back and go, wake up, wake up. And we must wake up and stand firm for what we want from Evie.
Mavis, thank you very much. I don't think anybody could have put it any better. I'm very grateful to you and for your calls and for your constant wisdom and admonition to everyone. I say that to you because a lot of people have said to me that they really enjoy when you call in because you always have something worthwhile to say.
God. All over the place, even in St. Martin. I opened my mouth in a supermarket 2 weeks ago. And somebody said, oh, man, you're the woman on the mark. Miss, I like you when you call in. I stay away sometimes, but there are times when I know that I must come out and remind our people that hard work brings results. I mean, think it's in Bastia, they're turning off water every night. You got to put down a bucket. Those days are gone for us here. When last I had to put down a bucket? And so, we must value what we do have. Another thing is, we need to start protecting our environment. We had a cleanup campaign. We went over to the beach. Lord, man, fishermen are calling you out. You could carry an oil drum down there and put in the oil bottles, not kite them up in the bushes. Those days are gone. Those same oil bottles getting into the ocean with that oil feeding into it. And we are endangering the same way we want to make our livelihood. Come on, fishermen, do better. Do better with this. I picked up Saturday 50-something oil bottles. It can't make sense.
Well, I'm
passionate about the environment because I saw what it does in Indonesia. The plastic and everything, how it forms when it's not moving. I don't want that for our little island.
Well, in fact, I commented in my press conference on Monday that I was driving down the road, the Island Main Road, and there was a passenger bus ahead of me, and I saw that somebody fling a bottle out of the bus and into the drain as the bus was passing. And as I walk at mornings, I'm constantly picking up styrofoam with chicken bone. I'm picking up, bottles of drink, and I keep saying, why is it that our people are doing these things? Keeping the island clean is really everybody's business.
And we have a reliable garbage system.
Very reliable.
We have a reliable garbage system. I don't see where they're taking it on people's land that are unoccupied and passing the plastic bag of garbage in there. The bags are decaying now and the things are being spread about. People, please protect our little environment. We're saving it for our great-great-grandchildren. When we have all these plastics bleeding into the underground water system, we are the ones who are going to get sick faster. I mean, we think cancer new. Cancer is not new. When I was a little child, 5 and 6 and 7 years old, we hear the man dead from stoppage of water, and we hear the woman dead from running. We didn't have the words cervical cancer and prostate cancer, but that's what it is. But the predominance of it now is vast, and it's all because of how we live, what we do. I mean, another concern. The children that went to the health center last year, 3 of them were hospitalized. 1 spent 2 weeks, high blood pressure. 6 farmers, 16 and 17-year-olds. This year, 20 of them on the list. Pressure, they had to go to the health center every day for 2 weeks. Parents, feed the children the potato and the ground provision. Stop give them the chicken every morning. We're full of salt water because some of the people don't think they should just season them with onion, herbs and thyme. Look after the health of your children.
Mavis, thank you.
What I'm talking
yes,
about?
I hear you. I hear you.
Blood pressure.
Well, thank you for your contribution this evening. I truly appreciate it, and I appreciate you. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mavis. Let's stick with the telephones and continue to take your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello? Okay, caller, I think could you call back, please? I apologize. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Those are the numbers to call. I noticed that online there's a lot of discussion and debate as well, which is excellent. That's what the show is here for. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night to the Honorable Mark Brantley. Good night.
Yes, good evening to you, brother.
Yeah, this is Mr. Politics calling you from Stinky.
Yes, Mr.
I'll
Politics.
listen to your program.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, with the Destiny project in Nevis, right?
Yes.
And the Southeast Peninsula, what I hear people saying that is something different to the Destiny project. Because the Southeast Peninsula, the land them over is private land.
The Destiny
but
project,
the
land is...
belongs to the people of Nevis. And what...
Wait, call, I'm not understanding. Wait, hold on a second. Talk slow for me. You're saying Southeast Peninsula, the land is what?
The private land. Private owned land.
Yes.
By long-time developers and all thing, eh?
Yes.
So...
And what you say the difference is in Nevis?
What I'm trying to say now, that it is a different thing between the Destiny, the land in Nevis, because the land in Nevis is people land, people selling the land.
But I'm not understanding your caller. So the land them in Sinkis is not people land?
Well, the private land over there.
Well, in Nevis is the same private land, caller?
Listen, what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes.
There is down to earth people land. These are rich people land over the Southeast Peninsula.
Also,
people saying.
Also, Southeast Peninsula is rich people and in Nevis is down to earth people.
Them is people who got their children and the grandchildren them to come and wherever to come.
So if they sell the land, they can't get the money to the children and the grandchildren?
Well, listen, that is what people say.
Yeah, but I'm trying. You said
they're trying to say it's two different things.
Yeah, but I'm saying I understand what people are saying, but Mr. Politics, you are a sensible man. So what I'm saying to you is that if on the Southeast Peninsula it was private land, because the country only got two kind of land, government land and private land. So if on the Southeast Peninsula it was private land, well, on the south coast of Nevis is the same private land. So
it belongs to like people, the ordinary people from Nevis, the land, the southeast coast land.
Well, may I know who you're calling ordinary, because some of them own over 100 acres. Them ordinary?
Well, you got some people that just decide they got land and want to maybe do livestock farming.
Yes.
They want to maybe...
I hear you, and some people
farming and those things.
I agree with you, and then some people got land and they say they want to sell it.
And the next thing, Mark, let me move on.
Yes, move on. Let's go.
No, I call him from Webber last and I said the same thing. Why government, especially we Caribbean government and different government in the black countries, black leaders, why we always got to bring people from investors come in and develop our land? If you check the guy in Burkina Faso, Abraham Sherry, what he doing right now, he's trying to build the people them, invest in the people them to own things.
How you know?
And the people them in the country get work.
How you know that's so?
Yeah, but I don't see it on the news. I don't see it on the news.
You also see on the news that he took power by the gun?
Well, he got to do something to keep out the enemy.
Oh, I see. So you would like that? Well, let me wait. Mr. Politics, slow down, man.
Country can come in for dictating your country.
Man, you're going so fast. Slow down, man.
Yeah.
So it's okay that he take over by the gun. You think the same thing should happen here then?
No, me not say that, man. No, our peaceful people on here.
Oh.
We got things ballot and wherever, but them not big country and them are big countries.
Okay. So if the country big, you could take over by the gun, but if it's small, you don't want that.
Mark, before I go, right?
Yes.
I hear set up on your program already. That the congressman, the minister of public works, the minister of works, he said that water going 24/7 in Bastille.
Yes, he said that in the parliament.
But you might hear soon the hospital done bill, the school done bill, that before election come, I mean, you might hear all kind of thing happen before election to come. Because when you say these things, a friend of mine called me in Bastille, in the village area, tell me that every night water still does go.
Well, I'm just reporting what the minister said. I don't know.
So no, Mark, we got to think, you know, we got to think these guys that tell a load of lie. And I can call them up for the lie. Even from the top to the Prime Minister. Listen, he just lying to the people and lying to the country all the time.
So you're saying that there's still water issues in Bastille? That's what you're saying?
There's a water issue because people live mainly in Bastille. But people who live in Bastille tell me they got water issue all the time still.
Okay.
And they're talking about electricity and this and that. People got electricity problem too. Sometimes electricity go out at night and they're talking about solar this and solar that. But Mark, any government get into office, right? Houses are building every day. Different projects going on every day. That's the main purpose to any government to get it going. To develop water and electricity. Maybe if you want to put in the solar area or nothing. This is not no go boast stand about this not happen this year and that not happen. Because any government getting this thing is a continuous thing. You understand? Just telling them a fool in the people, Mark. You know, these got to stop because I live in St. Nevis all the time. And I maybe I go somewhere for vacation or somewhere. But I live in this country all the time and I know how my country run. I know how different administration going and they run the country and they what they do. So I know what's going on, me ain't a fool. But some people just politically blind and see what's going on because they're supporting a party. The party done the wrong for them, so they won't come out and call them out. You know, and them are the ones some of them are suffering. Them are the ones can't pay the electricity bill. Them are the ones can't pay the water bill. Them are the ones when they go to supermarket, they got to put back. And these are the ones go jump up when they got in political meet them and tell them this and tell them that they go jump up and nothing goes up. Not far from the truth.
Okay, Mr. Politics.
Hey, brother Mark, you have a wonderful night.
Okay, you have a good night as well.
Anyway, you know, how you talk on your program, right? Your program does do a lot for you. You know, I don't believe that you could let Eric them go out and campaign and Jefferson go out and campaign. Because you do a lot on your program and I believe that the people them get you enough for whatever they want to do, whether they're going to put you back in government or what. But this program and the Mark has done a lot for you in government.
Thank you very much.
All right, so you take care.
Okay, God bless you. We have, ladies and gentlemen, about 40 minutes left and we're taking your calls. Let's go straight back to the telephones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, and how are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Okay, I'm well. Okay, this is Joyce moving. I'm just asking permission for maybe a minute.
Joyce, you're going to take 5.
Stage 5?
Yes.
Oh my God,
Go ahead.
I'm not certain if I'm up to speak in that long.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Yes.
I'm calling on behalf of the St. George's Committee that is organizing their St. George's Exposition for this coming Saturday, May 2nd, at the David Freeman Center of Excellence, right in the heart of St. George's Parish. I'm not certain if you are aware that St. George's Day was celebrated on April 23rd. It's an annual celebration, festival. And so we plan to celebrate St. George's Day. We wanted to do the activity last weekend, but we realized, hey, this weekend is a long weekend, and people may want to lime a little later and rest a little on Monday, because we do realize a lot of activities going on over the weekend. So hence, we have the St. George's Exposition slated for this coming Saturday from 12 p.m. until 10 p.m. at the David Freeman Center of Excellence. Now, a person may ask, what is the St. George's Exposition all about? It is simply a day filled with different activities showcasing the talent and the diversity of St. George's Parish. It is an event that is open to everybody. It's free to come in, but you would find on exhibits artwork from people like Marvin, people like Foley, they are from Gingerland. You may find some clothing designers like Curie and Cavell. You may find some other persons who does creative things with crocheting, etc. We'll definitely be having the kids area with the bouncy castle, the face painting. We also would have vegetable stores because St. George's has been known and is still known for its production of food and vegetables. And so we'd have that, some household plants, maybe some mint bush, kibush, those kind of things. We're supposed to have those as well. And so and food, of course. Food is very important. So we'll have our cook in the house providing all the food. We'll be having musical entertainment. And we are proposing to have a segment where we highlight the musical talents of persons from Gingerland, both living and departed. We're also going to be having, because, when you say Gingerland, you have to say steel band, you have to say string band, you say big drum, and masqueraders. So there's no kind of St. George's exposition without those talents on display. So we're having all of these things on Saturday, right at the David Freeman Center of Excellence. So I'm using this medium to invite all persons throughout Nevis to come on out and just have a fun-filled day with us in St. George's as we showcase our many talents. I mean, we can't exhaust all the talents we have in Nevis or in Gingerland, but we're just trying to showcase some of what we have to offer. We are proposing that this event become an annual event. So, based on how it goes this year, we look to see whether we can build on it for next year.
Okay, Joyce, since I have you, and just remind us, when is the event?
This coming Saturday, May 2nd,
What time?
2026, from 12 p.m., 12 noon,
And where?
until around 10 p.m.
Where?
David Freeman Center of Excellence.
So right at Market Shop.
Right in the heart of Gingerland, you can't miss it.
Okay.
And parking is no issue.
Okay, so right at Market Shop. And what can people expect? You said there'll be art, will there be food and drink and music?
Food. You come and buy your food products. If you want to go home and cook, we'll have our vendors there. You can come and you can even get some gifts for Mother's Day, because, Mother's Day is the next week. So you can preempt and jump. We'll have gifts like that. We'll have cooked food, fun for the children, exposing the talent of the persons from St. George's.
Okay, fantastic. So we're inviting one and all to come out then. And you said admission is free?
Free.
Okay.
Just good behavior and bring money.
Good.
We want people to come, spend some time, and relax. It's a long weekend.
Yes. So it is the St. George's Fun Day then. The community, you're celebrating the community. And is that the...
as I said, it's a post-event to celebrate St. George's Day, because St. George's Day was celebrated on the 23rd of April.
Okay.
It's an annual event that
All
is
right.
celebrated on the 23rd of April.
So I'm just trying to get all the information straight now. So it is going to be a fun day. It's at the David Freeman Center of Excellence, right in the heart of Gingerland, right there at what we call Market Shop.
Yes.
It's going to be free admission, and there'll be music, food, fun. There'll be gifts. There'll be opportunities to buy some provisions and some vegetables and all of those things, and also to buy art and see basically a display of all things Gingerland.
Yes, and also we are hoping to have some pop-up quiz so persons can come, answer a question, and win something.
Okay, excellent.
This is all the fun activity. Free and fun, so we're asking all to come out and support. Support, please bring your money and your good behavior.
All right.
That's all we're asking.
Thank you very much for that, Joyce. And you took about 2 minutes, so you didn't do too bad.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And have a good night. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark, and we continue to take your calls at 869-469-1616 and 1700. The phones are free, so for those who want to call in, please do. I want to congratulate Joyce and the entire team. I think that these initiatives are really, really excellent initiatives. The initiatives from the community, for the community. They're not dependent on any government. And I like to see that. It reminds me of what Trevius Smitten and the team are doing up there in Hard Times with the cricket. Really good effort. We need more of that in Nevis. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good evening. You're on the air.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Mr. Brantley, you gave a real colorful story in your soliloquy about wealthy expats inviting you to their homes, a different abode and stuff, with ulterior motives. And you graciously turn them down. Okay. my question is, why does it seem like destiny is the same thing, but just that this time destiny's got you in their pocket?
Well, if it seems that way to your caller, I can't change your opinion, but I will tell you, I'm not in anybody's pocket, and I will never be in anybody's pocket. The example that I use that example to demonstrate that there are some people who want to have a leader that is malleable and that they can control. And I made it very clear in my soliloquy, as you put it, that there is nobody who's going to control me. I will lead with the best interest of the people of Nevis, as they've elected me to do. Some may agree and some may disagree. But do not seek to disrespect me by saying I'm in anybody's pocket, because I am not, and I will never be.
That is no disrespect, Mr. Brantley. That is simply my opinion.
Well, and you're free to your opinion.
All I'm asking you to do is respect it.
Caller. If I were to say to you that you are a fool, that is my opinion of you. Great caller, listen to me. Listen to me, please. If I were to say to you that you are a fool or you are a thief, that is my opinion of you. That doesn't mean you should accept it. It is insulting to you.
No, leave me to decide.
No, I can't leave it to decide. We are human beings. We are both divisions. You can't call in and suggest that I'm in somebody's pocket and tell me I should respect your opinion. That is insulting to me. Just as if I called you a thief or a fool would be insulting to you.
Mr. Brantley?
Yes?
You on social media going out on people's yachts and all that.
And so?
All by yourself.
And so? I'm asking you.
And so it's a part of the story you just told.
What is part of the story that I just told, caller?
Okay.
I'm not understanding. So if I go on somebody's yacht, that means I'm in their pocket? Is that your conclusion?
Brantley, I heard in your...
You've moved on from the point.
Press conference.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard in your press conference.
Yes, go ahead.
You were naming all the things that you tried to do here in Nevis. And the opposition. You named the NRP. That they have opposed them. And you named quite a few. You named the Mondo Track, you named the Wally Pier.
Yes.
You named the Newcastle Police Station. I couldn't help but wondering if you were suggesting that the NRP is the reason that some of these things didn't come to pass. The reason I'm finding it a little peculiar is because some of them came to pass, and you said that the NRP opposed them too. So when you were trying to give the impression that when people ask why is this not happening and why is that not happening, the first thing you look to do is to blame somebody. I noticed the federal government these days has been a punching bag. The Prime Minister have, well, in your words, have been dragging his foot on signing, doing some signatures for projects that you're doing. And you're suggesting that the projects and Nevis projects have nothing to do with St. Kitts. Well, what if I ask, well then, why are you asking St. Kitts to sign? And if the Prime Minister, you're asking the Prime Minister to sign, if he should not assess them and see if he wants to get himself involved with certain things that you're asking him to sign. Let's take, for instance, the airport project. I heard you try to convince a young lady on your last show that it's a Nevis project and it's Nevis paying back the money. And that it's nothing to do with St. Kitts. Well, then why ask them to sign a guarantee? I happen to know that a guarantee or a guarantor is someone who will have to take the responsibilities if you cannot come through, or Nevis cannot come through. I also happen to know from reliable sources that the rate of growth to GDP is either approaching or past 100%. The IMF has recommended that you do not go past 60%.
And the rate is close to 100% where?
Pardon?
The rate, you say you're informed reliably that the rate is close to 100%? Where?
The growth to GDP,
Debt to GDP, you mean?
the debt to GDP percentage
Yes.
is past 100%.
Where?
It means that
Where? Call up
Nevis.
in Nevis? I see.
Mr. Brantley,
Go ahead.
this has come from reliable sources. If you know otherwise, fine. But I'm making the point
Yes.
that we have spent ourselves deep in, and it's time to take action, take stock of what's going on. A case in point, Mr. Brantley. We have a project in the hospital yard. It's been languishing. Whatever the reason is, it's not going anywhere. And in the same hospital yard, you start another one. I mean, let us think about it. Let it sink in. You're already in debt. You cannot proceed with a project because of lack of funds, and you start another one. And it almost looks like it's going to be that other one. They could quite possibly be languishing again.
Yes, caller. I'm sure it looks like that to you, but
Pardon?
I said I'm sure it would look like that to you, but it may not be like that.
It may not be.
Exactly. So you acknowledge that possibility.
It may be. It may not be.
Okay. Well, like everything in life.
But it doesn't stop me making the point I'm making.
But I don't know what the point you're making because
Well, Mr. Brantley,
you are
just allow me, please.
Well, caller, you've been allowed for quite a while. You've been having a bit of a soliloquy.
There are other callers who've been on for quite a while.
Caller,
Mr. Brantley,
hello,
if you would pay more attention.
Could you please understand that this show has a particular rhythm and a particular protocol?
And
you can't call in. Wait a minute, please, caller. Please. You can't call in this show and think that you're going to monopolize the time without there being any response. So if you're not prepared to listen to me, as I have respectfully listened to you, then you're free to hang up. Okay? The point that I'm making to you, you've called in and your assumptions are all negative, and your assumptions are all based on, in my opinion, no information. You say we've started. Caller, hold. I said I listen to you. You must listen to me now. That's how conversations go.
Well, if I didn't hear what you say, I can't ask you what you said.
Well, I said that you're. I said. How are you going to hear if you keep talking? Listen. I have said to you that you've called in and you're making certain assumptions based on an absence of information. Wait until you get the information and then perhaps you can form a view. But that is part of the dilemma we have in the country. Because persons just render an opinion pulled out of nowhere. And then, as you did earlier, ask people to accept it as your opinion. But what is it based on? No. You are, hold a second, I'm not finished yet. You are assuming that we're doing something and that something is going to stall. You don't have no basis for that assumption. You're just assuming so. And you're asking me that I must accept your opinions. What are they based on? That you can pick up the phone and call the radio station and just say whatever you want to say? I mean, therein lies the difficulty. I am saying,
I never told you to accept my opinion. I only asked you to respect it.
Well, to respect it is to accept it, caller, no?
Okay, so you are saying that I'm wanting you to accept my opinion without any basis.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what you're doing? Asking me to accept destiny without any knowledge of what's going on over there?
In fact, I have not asked you to accept a thing in relation to destiny.
I know.
I have not asked you to accept anything, caller.
You know,
I have sought to...
Mr. Brantley, the thing about destiny
Yes.
is not what you say, because you do a lot of saying. Is what is not said.
Okay. And
And
if it's not said, caller, you know what is not said.
Mr. Brantley, there are some people, there have to be some people, and I know there are some people who have seen that proposal and they're sticking out, they're not touching it with a 20-foot pole. You might ask, you might say you don't know why, but that's for you to find out.
Okay. All right, caller.
It's for you to find out.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution as always. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark, and we're taking your calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. To the last caller who just called in, I like to give people an opportunity to speak because that is why the show is here, and we like to engage with our people. But it really reinforces the difficulty because you hear things being said, and any of us could form an opinion on anything. I could see a man pass up the road and say, "But I believe he just thieved something," That doesn't mean that the opinion is worth the words expressed. It doesn't mean that I have to either accept it or respect it, because it's not based on anything. It's just based on somebody decide I'm going to say something because I have a mouth. And I think that we need to understand that there are opinions that are based on fact and based on reflection that are worthy of consideration, and then there are some which are just expressed because maybe people feel bored. They're home, they're not got nothing to do, so they say, well, let me just call the radio and say something. Caller, I'm not seeking to persuade you of anything. As the Premier of Nevis, my job is to share information with you and with the public, and to indicate why I and my government, elected by the people to serve them, have decided that we want to move left or move right or not move at all, as the case may be. I've often made the point, which I think is critical, that people will agree and people will disagree. In fact, I will tell you, some people agree today and disagree tomorrow, and next week they agree again. That is the nature of our people, and that's the nature of humanity. So my job is not to persuade you as an individual. My job is to give information and to always ensure that I and my government are conducting ourselves in a way that is proper, that we're not in anybody's pocket, as you sought to suggest quite insultingly. Those are the things that we must do. That doesn't mean that you're going to agree with everything we say or do. I remind you that not even Jesus, everybody agreed with him. So let us move beyond that, and let us just sometimes agree to disagree, and we move on. Let's go back to the phones. We have 20 minutes left. Caller, are you close to the... Hello? Hello? Caller, are you there? Okay, that caller doesn't want to talk to us. Caller, are you there?
Hello? Yes, this is Livingstone Williams, a.k.a. Stoneman.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Brantley. And I would appreciate if you do show me the courtesy to call me by my name. My name is not Caller. Earlier this evening, you made certain statements about Timothy Harris and St. Kitts. And the problem I have with that is that I seem to remember you saying that from day one, Nevis was railroaded, and you recognize that. Then I heard you say Timothy Harris is the best thing ever happened to Nevis. So what I would like to know is, now you're saying he's the worst thing. So were you lying then, or are you lying now?
Can I ask you something?
Well, could you answer that question?
No, no, I
Were
will
you
answer.
lying then,
I will answer, but
or
I want to
are you
ask.
lying now?
I will answer you, but may I ask you something?
Yes, you can ask me.
Have you ever been married?
Yes.
Are you still married?
No.
When you got married, you thought the lady you're married to was the best thing for you?
Probably.
Okay. You were lying then? Or you lie when you get divorced?
No. You want to twist around.
No, I'm
the
not
bush
twisting.
again.
I'm asking you something.
No. That is nothing to do
Caller.
with what I am talking about.
Caller.
So my name is not Caller.
Think about it.
Livingstone Williams.
Think about it. Relationships evolve. And the fact that
I'm asking you, were you lying then, or you said you recognized from day one that Nevis was being shafted?
I'm trying to explain to you.
Right?
I'm trying to explain to you that relationships change. Sometimes you get into a relationship, you think that this is the way things are going to go. Sometimes they even go well for a while. And then those relationships change. That's why I use the analogy and asked you if you were married. Because you said, I do, and I will love and cherish you for the rest of my life, and then you got divorced. It doesn't mean that you were lying. When you said I do, you meant it, and when you get divorced, you meant it too.
Did you not say in one of your statements that you recognized that Nevis was being shafted from day one?
I don't know anything about shafted from day one. I went into a government, the party at the time being led by the Honorable Vance Amory of blessed memory, who signed the Charleston Accord that the island of Nevis would get certain benefits. Some benefits flowed, but not what was agreed. And when I became Premier in 2017, I went and I said, listen, this was not what was agreed, and some more was added to what was coming, and we were constantly told, hold on, the matter is going to be resolved. I was 100% accurate when I said that Nevis was getting more than it ever got before, because when you get not before and you get one now, you're getting more than you got before. But I was equally adamant in saying that this was not what had been agreed. And so after I realized that what had been agreed, there was no intention to give what had been agreed, I said, thank you very much. And I picked up my Georgie bundle and I went about my business. So I am not sure where about lying then and lying now comes from, because relationships are developed and they ebb and flow over time. And if I get into a business relationship with you tomorrow, Mr. Williams, and we both have the best of intentions, I assume, and a year or two after that, things go sour between us because you feel I'm not doing what I am supposed to do, or I feel you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it doesn't mean that you lied or I lied. It just means that the relationship is no longer working.
Well, that's your opinion. We'll let the listeners decide on what they think of that.
Well, I'm pretty sure they will.
Now,
Yes.
let us deal with destiny.
Yes.
That is my favorite subject
Yes.
right now. Let me ask you again, how much land does destiny hold by either own outright, lease, which they don't lease, they've said so, or there's a purchase agreement? Be very careful in what you say and how you respond to me.
Well, I don't have to be very careful because I don't know. I haven't
How do
checked.
you mean you don't know?
Well, what do you mean?
All right then, let me correct myself.
Yes.
When you have put the proposal to sink it, how much did they have?
When we put the proposal to sink it, how much do they have?
Did they have at that moment in time?
I think that I don't have the precise number in front of me as I speak to you, but I think that I have said publicly that they had about 70% of the lands that they were seeking to acquire. So the total that they were seeking to acquire was somewhere in the vicinity of 2,400 acres. And I think the last update I had was that they had 70% that they had secured by way of agreement.
Well, it's funny the information I have is different.
Well, perhaps
2,670 acres they want to get, and they only have 30%.
Okay.
So somebody has got their wires crossed.
yes. And I suppose you have seen the agreement and you have been part of the
Again,
negotiations.
as I say, according to my information,
Okay.
right?
All right. Well, your information
they
is
only
inaccurate.
They only have 30%
So
of the land, and my point is, from day one, the SSV says that any proposal put forward has to be substantiated by having 100% of the land. Am I correct or am I incorrect?
any proposal put forward must be substantiated by having 100% of the land.
Of the land, yes.
Caller, on which you are going to do your project. Yes.
Okay. And now you're telling me that they've only got 70%.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Williams, please try to understand.
so
If you only have 70%, you can only do your project on the 70% that you have.
no, but the SSV says that the criteria is that any project which is proposed,
Yes.
you yourself said, let's go back to your figures then, 2,400,
Yes.
right? Did they have 2,400 acres of land in hand?
Mr. Williams, if my target area, because I say I want to acquire 2,400 acres, the 2,400 acres does not belong to me. You following me?
Go on.
I want to acquire 2,400 acres to do a particular project. After I've gone through my negotiations, I end up with 1,500 acres out of the 2,400. The project can only be done on what lands I have acquired, which will be the 1,500.
And again, I ask you this question. The SSZ legislation,
Yes.
does it not say, paragraph 5, 1D, that any proposal which is submitted to the federal government should encompass the land which they have, not what they propose, what they have?
But this is the point. That's what I've said to you. You asked
No,
me a
but does
question
it not
earlier,
say
and
that? But does the legislation not say that? Is that not the wording of the legislation?
I don't have the legislation in front of me, but of
Oh,
course,
wow.
of course.
Oh, wow.
You think I walk with it in my pocket?
Oh, wow. Well, I would have thought that if you've been doing what you said, 40 renditions, and you've been doing it for all these months, you would know it back to front.
The legislation,
Mr. Brantley.
I wasn't doing the legislation for 40 months, caller.
Right?
Let me just say to you, because I think that you're probably not understanding the point that I'm trying to make.
I understand precisely.
I don't think you do. The reality is that you can only do a development on land that you own or that you have access to. Full stop.
And again,
So,
does the legislation not state that any proposal put forward must have the land already?
in order for the project to be approved, you must and can only approve a project based on the land that the developer has either owned or access to by lease or otherwise. Absolutely. My point is that
and you said that they wanted 2,400. Did they have 2,400 to propose?
caller, because they could have wanted 10,000. That doesn't matter. What matters is what do they have when they make the application for approval. So because I wanted 2,400, if I only get 800 and I decide, okay, I'm going to do my project based on this, the 2,400 isn't relevant to this discussion?
No, but it is, because the legislation says that you need the land.
The legislation says that whatever...
Does it not? You say you don't remember. I have it in front of me.
So read it
let's
first.
do this. Next week,
Read it first.
You're around.
No, if you have it for you in front of you...
Sure you have it, and then we'll go through this.
No, but
again.
if you have it in front of you, you could spare us a week by reading it first.
Have a good night.
Okay, well, I don't think you have it in front of you. Because if you did, you could have spared us all that rhetoric and just read it. That is what you needed to do. Just read it out for us. I'm assuming that wouldn't be a problem for you. And let us know what the legislation says. Because I'm saying to you that because you want to do a project and you say, I want 2,000 acres on which to do this project. When you've negotiated, you end up with 700 acres. All that is required, whether under the SSZ or under any other development, is that when you go to get your approval for your project, you must own or control the lands on which you're going to do your project. In this case, you could only do your project on the 700 acres that you own or control. What is so difficult about that to understand? Even if you were to go down to planning tomorrow to set the planning you want to build a house, planning going to ask you, well, do you have title for the land on which you want to build it? Or do you have permission from the owner to use the land? It's the same thing here. Again, I don't understand. We keep trying to, I don't know if it is we have a fixation on being extra bright, but simple, basic concepts we don't seem to be willing to grasp because we're holding on to something that doesn't exist. How on earth are you going to propose a project and submit that project for approval on land that you do not own? It seems to me so obvious that it could only be on land you own. So, caller, if you're going to call back in and read this section for us, do that so that we could at least know what it is you're talking about. Let's go back to the phones and take this call.
The mind.
Hello, good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening. It boggles the mind that some people are calling to bamboozle us. Now, Destiny Project. We're talking about billionaires, millionaires coming to the table. When these people sit down in their board and decide upon a project, they have their what if and their just in case and their plan A, which they would want, or they may even want plan B, but present plan A to you. And these big buildings and these big projects do not happen in all one go. So, if this year they did not get this full amount of land, they go into phase 1 and they do that. On board that, the marketing of phase 1 and what people experience and see will encourage other sellers who are holding on to their land to sell to them, and then they turn into phase 2. The just in case and the what ifs have been covered. I mean, these people here come back as experts and they say, Nevis is not ready for business. But I hear them on the radio to see some of them really not ready for business. Come on, people. There's phase 1, phase 2, and you can't build on nobody else then. And they didn't tell you in the legislation how much acres you must own. It just should be you one. And if it's one condo you could do, you put down one condo. Maybe before you finish the one condo, seller A come and said, boy, I see what you're really doing and it makes sense. I'm telling you, Milan. That is all I got to say. People must read and understand and analyze.
Thank you very much. And I always love when you call because you bring a common sense perspective to things, because I am just not understanding what is so difficult about simple ideas and simple concepts for some people to grasp. And people actually act as if I am trying to mislead them, you know, when in reality they have done a very, very good job of misleading themselves. Everybody is trying to get a gotcha moment. Everybody wants a moment to say, oh, I catch him in a lie. Well, you can't catch me in a lie because I'm not telling anybody any lies. If you are opposed to a particular project in Nevis, whether it's Destiny, Water, Taxi, Police Station, Mondo Track, or whatever project you're opposed to, that is your right. But stop with the... I don't know what word I could use to describe it. Because as this caller just called in and said, you can only build or do a project on land that you own or control. That's a cardinal basic principle. So if I say I want 1 million acres to do something and I end up with 5 acres, well, I got to do it on the 5 that I have. I can't send a proposal based on 1 million acres. And if I had a proposal based on that, I can't get an agreement based on that. I can't get approval based on that. How are you going to approve somebody to build on land that don't belong to them? That is as easy as C-spot run. ABC. C-spot jump. We used to do that in infant school. Up there behind the Gingerland Methodist Church. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, caller. We got 4 minutes left.
Yes, Mr. Matt. Good night.
Yes, good night.
Don't let him stress you out. He think he could wrap you around his finger, but just smarter than that. If he had the paper in front of him, he'll say what he have on the paper. He don't have that thing. None of them, maybe he think he could get you on his little finger, but not a thing name. So you went to school. You're a bright man, you're a smart man. Don't study him.
All right, caller. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
When you're ready to leave the radio station, may God guide you and protect you. And you were driving to your home and you reach home safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you. All right. The lady said that the man didn't have no paper. But I tell you, this St. Kitts Nevis is a wonderful, wonderful place. And culture armor coming, so people practicing, they're getting ready, because there's going to be a lot of pecan for culture armor as usual. But that was quite funny, I thought, that the man had no paper. I wonder if the man had the paper for Chuka. If he had it, he should have been able to read from it and tell us what the paper say. Anyway, let me leave that at that. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Brand.
Yes, you're close to the radio thing. We're getting an echo. You need to move away from it, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just calling to tell you good night and I love you and safe journey home.
Thank you, my dear. I love you too.
The best premier for Nevis is you.
Thank you. I
love you always.
All right. I appreciate
Bye
that
for
very
now.
much. Thank you. God bless. All right. We have about 2 minutes left. We can take one or two more calls. Tonight has been an interesting show. And of course, we enjoy every single caller. Every single caller adds something. We may not agree, but every caller adds something. And so we welcome everyone. And we have 2 minutes. We may be able to take one call, maybe two. 469-1616, 469-1700. And if you want to be the final caller to the show, I would suggest that you pick up the phone now and you call in and you share your view. If that caller from earlier, I think he described himself as a stone man, if he can call in and read the section for us, I think the public would really appreciate it. And he would prove that he really had a piece of paper that he say he had. That would be very helpful. If he no call, well, maybe he can't get in, even though the lines are open. I don't know. But that would be very helpful because I think he would do a public service by reading the piece of paper for the people. Let's go back to the phones. Then we have 1 minute. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Kia Sharon beat you when you reach home. And that man there, right, he has an English accent. Tell him to go back where he come from.
Anyway, thank you very much for your call. We don't want anybody to go back. We want everybody to make a contribution. That's what we want. We want people to be here and to contribute. And that English accent, I don't know, because I know Livy. Livy's a fella been around here for long enough that he should talk like a Nivision by now. I don't know. The English accent is still there where he come from, but God bless him. Let's take this final call for the evening. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, caller, we haven't got you. Let's try this. Let me take this one. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, that caller isn't there either. So it looks like that's it. I do apologize to those callers who are trying to get in that it is really 10 o'clock and usually at 10 o'clock the band strikes up. It means we have to go. It has been a very, very good show tonight. I enjoyed myself. I want to thank all the callers. The only one who identified himself is Livy, the Stone Man. So, Mr. Stoneman, thank you for calling. And next time, please read the paper so the people know that you really have the paper. That will be useful. That, I think, is a joke of the night. That may well become part of the KAISO for 2026. The man really had the paper, or the man had the paper? We can't tell. We don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, the light moment. It was a good show. I really enjoyed all the callers. I enjoyed the exchange. And I thank all of you because I know you need to take time out of your schedule, pick up the phone and call. And as I said, whether we agree or we don't agree, we respect the fact that people have an opportunity to speak freely in this our country. Let's not take it for granted because there are other places in the world where that is not the case. That's our show. The banner struck up. It means we have to go. God bless you. Have a good night. And this show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Vaughan Radio. Don't forget on Saturday at midday at the David Freeman Center of Excellence, all roads lead to Gingerland for the St. George's Day. Let's go out and enjoy what Nevis has to offer. Good night and God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertiser.
With all the power from the tower, this is the